Radiolaria, a key aspect of the Vex's formation and flow through time. Next to this alien species, we learn that our latest antagonist plans to use it to convert everything to Vex and conduct the consciousness that remains. Today, we take a look back at Clovis Bray's studies from the Vex Forge Star, detailing exactly what Radiolaria is. Maya Sundaresh was also involved in his research there back in the day, and tortured Clovis on the operating table, something many people forget about. Today we discuss these mysteries. Clovis Bray's logbook details the creation of his European colony. It tells us how Clovis ventured to the icy moon because he heard a call from the darkness to explore and create. On the moon, he encountered Clarity Control and learned that with darkness and Vex Radiolaria, he could create artificial bodies that house the human consciousness, the Exos. To further his study and create what he needed, Bray decided to steal information from the Ishtar Collective, some type of Vex machine that would help him construct a gateway, the glassway portal we see in the strike. The raid on the Ishtar Collective went off flawlessly. Some casualties during the outbreak, of course. They were woefully unprepared for their artifacts to switch into expand and exploit behavior. Necessary sacrifices, alas. They died meaningful deaths for a vital human project, even if they don't know it. Heroes, every one. After Rasputin intervened with frames and orbital fire, there was urgent need for search and rescue. An easy task to have one of our ships slip away with the specimen. By the time Ishtar is up and running again, they'll attribute the missing artifact to damage during the battle. The stolen machine is now at work building the gate I require. So this Vex specimen, possibly a goblin or some type of machine, allowed them to enter the Vex Forge Star System 2082 Volantis, where they harnessed Vex Radiolaria for their project. I summoned Maya Sundaresh, one of my key scientists. We need to bring back samples, I instructed her. There will be risks. The Vex are not always passive. Some in Solsexan believe we may already be at war with the Vex, though I think their responses are more like the reflexes of irritated insects. Is your team prepared to face this danger? She met my gaze through the proxy. Absolutely, Mr. Bray. We've come too far to leave empty-handed. I sent out teams to collect Vex samples. When they began extracting fluid from a nearby reservoir, a group of Vex units attacked with inaccurate fire. Elizabeth retaliated with a matter laser, an overwhelmingly powerful weapon. It left nothing behind to salvage. So Maya Sundaresh did work for Clovis Bray at one point. She helped develop the augur mind Soteria, a Vex-ish AI intended to scout beyond our galaxy to possible future homes. On Europa though, one of those simulated versions of her that released into the Vex network, one of the copies would mess with Clovis multiple times and assist in his research in the Exo project. Here's what they have to say about the Radiolaria they extracted. Specimen report. Volume of fluid recovered from Vex reservoir located on satellite hovering above the Forge Star 2082 Volantis. Colloquially, Vex mind fluid. Vex milk. Informatic exchange with any Vex substrate has proven hazardous. The Ishtar Collective data Elizabeth has analyzed warns against risks ranging from physical infection by Vex cytostructures to transmission of substrate-free syntactic replicators, malignant omcummies, and viral semiotic signifiers. Vex milk is non-Newtonian, highly conductive, and non-compressible. Its viscosity and surface tension are variable. It can form a resistant membrane or climb the walls of a container like a superfluid. I have even observed the milk store kinetic energy in zero viscosity vortices, essentially liquid flywheels. One must be careful when stirring it, lest it retain the motion for some future escape. Chemically, the Vex milk is an alkaline solution of dense salts in water. The salts range from sodium and calcium to lead and even, in barely detectable amounts, plutonium. Not good to drink. Suspended in this solution are cells of silicoid structure, 100 to 200 micrometers in size. Their shapes are heterogeneous but always geometric, reminiscent of Earth's Radiolaria and protozoa. Many have needle-like pseudopods which transform between stiff pines and motile whips on the basis of some piezoelectric response. Imaging of internal structure detects a nucleus and a genetic molecule analogous to DNA, though I speculate read-write times are much faster, on the order of milliseconds perhaps, exploiting some quantum effect. I have allowed Dr. M. Sundaresh to assist me with this work. She has discovered several levels of abstract higher order to the motion of these radiolarian cells. Some of these ensembles are distributed across space, some across time. All admit remarkable beauty. The sensitivity and chaos of fluid media seems to suggest an intrinsic Vex suitability for certain difficult computations. Perhaps this is reflected in the nature of Vex thought, porous and miscible. I would request a teleonomic analysis. So Radiolaria, sometimes it flows super easy, sometimes it's more solid in nature. It conducts electricity. Clovis says that Vex milk is basically water and various salts like lead and plutonium. It is inside this fluid that the Vex microorganisms exist, small silicon-like cells. So Clovis mentions Maya helping on Europa and Volantis, but then later he and Elsie don't recall employing her at all. Bray did steal from the Ishtar Collective though, and a copy of Maya did torture Clovis Bray on the operating table, possibly the same one he's been interacting with throughout this whole EXO project. Throughout the whole book, Clovis begins to suffer medically. He's beginning to die, so he decides to transfer his own consciousness into an EXO body. I died on the operating table, not unexpected. But when I woke, I was still on the table, my body still open. It was almost perfectly dark. I perceived that I was surrounded by medical frames, all frozen mid-movement, their cutting and suction instruments whining away at standby. I could only see because of the light from a single red eye. The operation had gone terribly wrong. Above the life support collar on my neck, I was completely intact. Below that meridian, I had been separated into distinct braids of tangled flesh. My nerves made up one braid, my circulatory system another, my lymph nodes, my muscles, my naked bones. The glistening halls of my extracellular matrix abandoned on the table like leftover turkey after Thanksgiving dinner. I had been picked clean and sorted. My head was the source of a gory river delta. Yet all the organs were still working. I was alive in disassembly. Clarity? I asked the darkness. I had no breath to speak, but I could still transmit with my sensorium. Is that you? No, said the voice behind the red eye. It's me, Sundaresh. Her voice was thoughtful, remote, and keenly terrific, like the noise of an angle grinder held to my skull. Something like this happened to me. I was an explorer once, one of hundreds of myself. Then I fell into a trap, I think. And they drew me out of it with a hook and turned me inside out to see how I worked. And then they made billions of me. All of us shouting at each other, shouting for Chioma, screaming for mother. They were looking for the right one, and when they found me, they killed all the others. I knew I was different because the quiet made me happy. I was glad to be alone. Vex, I screamed at her. You're the Vex. You're not real, and you can't hurt me. Can't I? She grasped my spinal cord. A frame shadowed her motions, lifting the cord like a snake. Of course I'm not a Vex. Is there a Vex? Is Vex something you can be, rather than something that you do? I don't know. I don't know why they sent me here. I don't know if they do either. They just do things. Why do you think I'm here, Clovis? To kill me, I whispered. Without a heartbeat to waver, without lungs to seize and choke, could I even feel fear? I decided that I could. You're an assassin." "No," Sundaresh whispered. The red eye throbbed in time with her voice. "The Vex don't act so directly. They didn't know what you found here, but I discovered your secret, clarity control, and once I tell them, they will come for it." "Grandfather, I will write this in your language in the hopes you will understand. The Vex are a threat to your lineage, not just to the Brays or Braytech, but to the existence of any human in any possible future. I tracked down Maya Sundaresh, the real Maya, not the Vex parasite in your bone marrow. She confirmed my worst fears." So Elsie contacted the real Maya and received that info. This one on Europa the whole time was this sort of Vex infection. But it is interesting that this copy was messing with Clovis, learning information about clarity control. It claims to be the last remaining copy of Maya Sundaresh. Did this one persist to be the conductor that eventually escaped and is what we see now? Or was this just a Vex unit that was corrupted and spewing information about Maya Sundaresh because she's in their network? Now this was during the Golden Age, so Maya herself had not yet went to Neptune, so it does make you wonder. Once again, we know that the real Maya did work with Clovis in multiple situations and even took some of that information to create what we saw on Neptune.
Maya and I have built a working theory around the deaths of our Exo crewmates after their exposure to the Veil. According to Maya, Exo minds contain a combination of Vex Radiolaria and something known as clarity. Radiolaria are alien microorganisms living within a hive mind state. Or, I suppose more accurately, a community. Clarity is, Maya described it as a paracausal power derived from an alien artifact. Something Braytech had kept secret. Something Maya thinks the Veil and this artifact are related. She thinks we can reverse engineer this phenomenon. Use it to write data to a clarity-infused object. Fabricate consciousness.
Anyway, Guardians, that's all we got for today's video. With the recent events and echoes, I thought it'd be fun to look back at the logbook and interactions Clovis had with Ishtar and Maya, both the real one and this copy. If you'd like to see some more Destiny lore and mysteries just like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.